Welcome back to Geek Squad Academy's 3D Design and Printing class. My name is William, and I'm going to show you some advanced features of SketchUp today. Make sure, as you're planning your class, that you have an opportunity to show your students each of the tools that they learned yesterday. Some of them they may have experimented with, but you're trying to make sure they remember all of the things that they've learned before. A great way to do that is to go through each of the tools in a somewhat random order and have them tell you what each one does and what it's called. You can give away candy as a reward for good memory, and this is a great time to encourage that learning. What we're going to do is start by removing Stan entirely so we've got a blank canvas. To do that, we're going to use the Select tool in the top left-hand corner. Click on Stan, hit the Delete button on our keyboard, and he goes away. What we're going to do is use the Polygon tool first to make a simple shape. You can choose the number of sides in your polygon by hitting the corresponding button on the keyboard. So if instead of an 8-sided figure you wanted something with 6 or 5, you could choose that before you draw your shape. If you choose any more than 10 sides, you're going to find that it's really hard to tell the difference between a 20-sided shape and a perfect circle, especially as you start to go through the next couple of steps. So make sure that your students choose something 10 or fewer. Here we're going to draw a simple shape, and we can see that our 8-sided figure is some 2200 millimeters in size. That's not going to matter for us right now, but we also can't see all of our tool, and we could use the pan or the orbit tool, but we're going to use something brand new to snap it right to where we can see the whole shape, and that's called the Zoom Extents tool. It looks like the magnifying glass with the 3 arrows in the bottom. Here we can see the entirety of our shape, and we're going to add a couple of features to our design. By using either the Line tool or the Freehand tool, we can sketch extra features onto the surface and make new areas to our shape. I'm going to add a couple here and then show you how it's possible to accidentally do something not quite the shape that you want it to be. We can use the Freehand tool to draw so long as we connect it back to our original shape. But if your students accidentally go up at an angle, instead of going to a flat on the red or green axis, you'll see that when you rotate your shape planar, that you have that extra feature there. This is a good time to use the Erase tool or the Undo tool. Once you've got the extra features on your shape, it's time to erase the lines that make up that extra side. You can use the Erase tool on each one to make a more strange shape to our keychain. Before we do anything else, we will want to make a hole for where the keychain might go through, and that involves using our Circle tool. We're going to choose a part that's not quite all the way to the edge here, and we will want to use the Select and the Delete button on the keyboard again to cut that shape out. After this, we can use our Push and Pull tool to give our new shape a little bit of a 3-dimensional look. And we will want to use the 3D Text tool next in order to add something like the student's name, perhaps their group, other text that makes sense to them, to our shape. If we choose a font that is too thin, it'll be not only hard to see on the screen, but almost impossible to see with the 3D printer. So if we were to choose something like Geek Squad and place it on our shape, we might find that it's not quite as big or rotated to be exactly how we want it. We can use some new tools like the Scale tool in order to make our text larger. We can use the Rotate tool to choose a side and an axis to rotate around, and then rotate it to exactly the shape that we want it to have. We could also use the Move tool in order to move all of the letters at the same time. Once we have it close to exactly the way that we want it, you will want to right-click and choose Unglue, and right-click and choose Explode. This makes each one of our letters a completely different 3-dimensional shape that we can now do a lot of amazing things to. So if we were to choose something like the Push and Pull tool, we could lift each one of the letters, making some of them different heights than the others. We could use our Select tool and select certain parts of our shape and rotate those if we wanted as well. And we could use our Scale tool as well to make our shapes smaller or larger and give them a very bizarre shape. One of the next tools that we'll want to do once we've finished is use the Offset tool to draw a small inner border on our shape. We can then lift that with the Push and Pull tool in order to give our shape a real border similar to what a keychain would have. Your students at this point will probably want an opportunity to use a variety of different colors under the paint bucket or have a chance to experiment with all of the things that they've learned. Enjoy!